Baldo The Guardian Owls is a game by Nap's team, and it's available on all platforms. This review takes place on Steam via the PC. You play as Baldo, who is awakened from sleeping under a tree in his village by his friend Luna. She tells you that your grandfather is looking for you, and that you need to go hear what he has to say. Upon speaking to your grandfather, he tells you that he has finally discovered the resting place of a fabled lost galleon, aka a ship that contains an incredible treasure. This treasure can help you uncover the path to the legendary village of the Guardian Owls, and it's right here in your village. So this is the premise for your first main quest. Your grandfather will also point you towards a side quest, and these will be your opening missions to start the game. More missions can and are obtained by speaking to people in the village, and of course by completing them. So along with your friend Luna, you set out to find the lost galleon. This is a lovely looking game and has a nice musical soundtrack to go along with it. I always tend to turn off the music in these types of games, as that's just my personal preference. But you can adjust the volume from the options menu should you wish to do so. I did find it strange, however, that you could not adjust the sound effect volume, as these can be rather loud at times. To be honest, there are almost no in-game options to choose from at all, so you won't be able to rebind your keys if that's what you would like to do. Now don't be fooled by how nice and cute this game looks, and think, oh, this must be an easy kids game, because you will be wrong, as this game is really quite tough and actually very challenging, as there are no hints or pointers in this game, other than those given to you from the quest givers, so you will find yourself rereading the missions to figure out what to do next. So this game definitely does not hold your hand. Now death in this game happens often, and at times it can be downright stupid and cheap. I had full health and was one shot by a lizard hitting me with its tongue. I can walk off one ledge for example and be fine. I can walk off another ledge right next to the one I've just walked off and take damage. Or I can walk off another short ledge and just outright die and get the game over screen. This is just stupid, as it leaves you second guessing yourself at times on whether you should try to jump down onto a ledge or a floor below you in case it's going to kill you. You will also find yourself dying quite often in dungeons, and again deaths can be just outright silly at times. For example, I went into a new room in a dungeon with only one heart left on my health and was instantly killed by a rat that was right on top of me. However, I wouldn't worry about it too much, as when you die you do respawn in the same room right where you left off with full health. Because of this, I'd recommend saving any health items that you may have, primarily for boss fights, especially whilst in a dungeon, since you always respawn in the same room if you die, so using them outside of a boss fight is pointless. I'd also recommend buying a shield from the shield shop early on if you can afford it, as it will stop you from dying as often, and they are very useful both inside and outside of dungeons. Shields do eventually break, so keep an eye on their health meter. Once you get the sword from the first dungeon, dealing with enemies is not as bad, especially when combined with a shield. The combat in the game is okay. You attack with your sword, block with your shield, throw items or objects, as well as sprint and dodge with your roll, and it works well enough. It's more of a hack and slash style of combat more than anything else, but it's functional and does the job. Fast travel does become available in the game once you receive the Guardian's Horn, which you obtain relatively early in the game. This also allows you to learn songs that activates doors, portals and other devices, as well as the travel points for the fast travel ability. You uncover parts of the map by purchasing them from a vendor that you will meet early on in the game who explains this process to you. The dungeons are fun to some degree, but do suffer from a certain issue in regards to what I'll talk about in a moment, and this really did affect my enjoyment of the game. The dungeons involve you solving various puzzles, either by killing the enemies in the room, hitting switches to rotate staircases or activate elevators, or by placing pots on switches to open up barricaded doors, as well as many other things. There are also no hints or pointers to help you if you get stuck, so at times you really need to think about what you need to do. The answer is often simple, but at times not exactly obvious. Completing these will lead you to discovering items, or eventually lead you to the boss of a dungeon. The first boss of the first dungeon, which is the Lost Galleon dungeon, was actually pretty difficult, especially for a first boss of a game. It consisted of 4 phases and took me around 5 attempts to kill it. And if I did not have 2 pieces of food in my inventory, then it probably would have taken me a lot longer. So this game is definitely punishing, and I think maybe it's a little too punishing at times for the type of game that it is. So let's talk about the issue I have with the game that I mentioned earlier. I have one big problem with this game, and to me it became obvious from the moment I started playing, and that is the map. The map UI in this game is, in my opinion, awful, and it's one of the most frustrating and useless maps I've ever experienced in a video game. And I thought Doom's map in 2016 was annoying, so let me explain why. First of all, to open up my map, I have to press multiple buttons on my controller. First I have to press the start button, then I have to scroll left or right using the bumper buttons to get to the main quest or the side quest options. Then I have to press the Y button on the Xbox controller that I'm using for this playthrough, just to open up my map. Granted, if I used the keyboard and mouse, I could probably access it a bit quicker, but I wanted to play with the controller, and since this is on multiple platforms, I think it's a relevant point. However, that's not the biggest problem in the world, and I can deal with that. But why can't I just press one button to open up my map to see where I am or where I need to go? Why is the map not just quick and easy to access, considering how often you have to use it? Speaking of where I am or where I need to go, this for me is the biggest issue with the map, because I have no idea where my character is half of the time in relation to the quests I'm trying to complete. Instead of having a single icon or marker on the map that indicates where your character is, you instead have a giant blue pulsing circle. This also applies to all quests that you're trying to find and complete, as they too are indicated by pulsing circles, a blue one for the main quest and a green one for the side quest. All these circles do is indicate that both you and the objective is somewhere in that area. This makes what could be an otherwise fun little side quest become extremely frustrating when trying to figure out where it is you need to go to complete them. Why is there no navigation marker that guides you to the objective? Why can't I place a marker on the map that shows up on my mini-map so I know where I'm trying to get to? And why can't I zoom in? Honestly, I've spent so much of my time in this game just opening up the map, and that's not fun. Another issue, again related to the map, is why are there no maps at all inside of the dungeons? This would help immensely, as it would show you what area you are in, what area you have been to, and what area you have not yet accessed, therefore giving you a feeling of awareness as to where you are in the actual dungeon. This for me at least would have been super useful in helping you navigate your way through the dungeons, since you have to backtrack a lot of the time to get to other areas. I ended up getting lost for quite some time when trying to find my way back to a previous room that now contained a new treasure chest that previously wasn't there after completing a task in a different room. I can't stress how important it is just to have a decent map in a game like this. Think of games like Dragon Quest, Zelda, Ni no Kuni, or any game to that degree not having a map, and how it would affect your experience of the game. The games I've just mentioned do have maps. Yes, they are basic, but they function well, and they are key to helping you navigate the world and dungeons. It's such a shame that the map in Baldo is, in my opinion, the game's biggest flaw. The in-game camera is also fixed in place, so this means you cannot rotate the camera. This could have helped to some degree alleviate some of the issues brought on by the map. If you could have just used the camera to look around and help you get your bearings and figure out the best path to take to get to your next objective. After playing the game for almost 10 hours, I decided I'd had enough, and I decided that I did not want to play this game any longer. I can't believe the only reason I'm not enjoying a game is down to not having a decent map. I never thought I'd say that about a game, because outside of that, the game has a lot of potential. So in conclusion, This is a game that I can't fully recommend for everyone, as I think some people will really enjoy it, but I also think a lot of people will become like myself, quite frustrated with it. I'd maybe suggest that you wait for it to come up in a sale before giving it a go. However, I do want to stress and emphasise that there is a good game here waiting to break out. It's just held back and hindered, in my opinion, by poor map design, which causes player frustration. If you don't mind the flaws that I've mentioned in regards to the map, then go for it, as you may actually really enjoy this game, as the puzzles and combat are actually quite fun. I personally just found it more of a frustration to play, based on how often I couldn't figure out where things were and where I needed to go. But maybe you'll have better luck than me. Anyway guys, thanks for watching my review. If you've played this game, let me know your thoughts. And as always, thanks for watching. Please do comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.